Bitcoin at $150,000? Yes or no? That's the question I want to ask you in this video, and I want you to leave your most honest answer in the comments. Do you think Bitcoin could reach $150,000 in 2025? Yes or no? And why? In this video, we're going to analyze why, theoretically, Bitcoin not only could reach $150,000, but theoretically, let me repeat, could even reach $450,000. Throughout the video, we'll examine different macroeconomic patterns, and then we'll move directly to what concerns us, cryptocurrencies. Finally, I'm going to give you my opinion on whether this really makes sense or not, since many of us go online every day and see the opinions of people who supposedly understand the market, who supposedly have power in the market, and they make assumptions that for many of us seem unbelievable, so to speak. So guys, without further delay, let's get to the video. And I'll tell you right now, but I don't want you to do it just yet. If during the video you're enjoying it, finding it entertaining, or it's simply useful to you, please like or subscribe because it really helps me a lot. And so let's go straight to the screen. And the first chart to introduce this magical video I want to show you is the M2 chart, the one related to global liquidity. If we look directly at what has happened over the last 10 years, many of you will remember, practically all of you, because we all lived through it, that in 2020 we suffered a pandemic that locked us in our homes. Basically, this gray band you see here highlights a recession we experienced for a year, during which 25% of the dollars currently in the market were printed. We reached the peak in April 2022, which you can see here, with a total of $21.74 trillion. And now, despite having a QT, a quantitative tightening, we are currently reaching that all-time high level again. Basically, what happened during this period caused cryptocurrencies to appreciate tremendously. This led to not just because of this, but also due to other factors, the much anticipated alt season, during which cryptocurrencies multiplied several times over. So that would be the first point. And even though we currently have a QT in place, basically a quantitative tightening, what that means is an economic contraction. Basically, money is being gradually removed from the balance sheet, and many analysts are saying that this QT will end during 2025. Maybe not to start a QE, which is exactly the opposite, but simply to keep things calm. That being said, and taking into account what I just mentioned, even though we have a QT, we are already practically at an all-time high in terms of M2. And for those who want to see it in a much more visual way, on the 27th of December 2020, with Bitcoin priced at $26,272, who wouldn't want to get Bitcoin at that price right now? If we move forward little by little, we can see 32,000, 38, 35, 32, 33, 38, 48, 57, 45, 51, 59, and gradually you'll notice that we're going to reach almost $60,000 on the 11th of April 2021. Well, that happened not only because of the money printing, other factors also came into play. One of them was that inflation at that time was at a very low point. After that, it started to rise quite a lot. We all remember that starting in 2022, inflation in the United States was practically at 9%, and that currently we have about 1.58%, according to true inflation. The real annualized inflation we have right now is at a little over 2%. We need it to be below that 2% for QT to end, so that, probabilistically speaking, we could move a little further ahead to a possible QE. By the way, I also want to remind you, if you trade volume, if you're a trader, if you care about your anonymity, in the description of this video, you'll find a referral link to the Wix exchange, which doesn't require KYC. And just by doing a few simple things and registering with my referral link, you'll be able to do these things here and they'll give you USDT directly as a reward. Not only that, you also have in the video description a form where you can join my trading group, a signals group, where I'll be sharing trades with you and also teaching you about leverage trading. In case you don't know how it's done, so far we've made 50 trades and only missed one. Join and see for yourself. Not only that, we also have to remember the interest rates in the United States, which the Fed in just an hour and 22 minutes will announce whether or not they will be cut. Spoiler, they will not be cut. They will remain at 4.50% with a probability of 97.7%. And the thing is, we need, even though it won't happen in the short term, for these interest rates to keep coming down in the medium term so that people in the United States, after all, it's the most important economy in the world, along with China, start to feel less squeezed. And small businesses, ordinary people who want to buy a home, will have slightly lower interest rates, making it easier to invest more and more and allowing the economy to gradually flow. And now, what we're going to do is get to the heart of the matter. Let's go to the company's market cap website, a site where you can check the market capitalization of the most important companies we currently have on the planet, as well as the most important assets in the world right now. Here, Bitcoin is currently in 6th place, and it's only a matter of time before it surpasses Amazon, Nevada IDEA, Apple, and Microsoft. Simply put, what I want us to keep in mind is the following. Gold's market capitalization is $22.78 trillion, which is practically more than 10 times the current market capitalization of Bitcoin. And this right here is the gold chart. And I really want us to pay attention to what has happened with gold from May 2024 up to now. And it's the following. If we look at this part here in May 2024 and see the path gold has taken up to now, or even up to its all-time high, it's a 54.04% increase. 54.04%. An asset with a market cap of 22 trillion. I want us to do the following by pulling out the magic calculator. Let's put here 1.5 times 1.50, which would basically be an extra 50%. And the result is pretty much what we have now. You would just need to move the decimal point from one side to the other, but that's basically it. In the span of a year, gold has gone from $15 trillion to $22.7 trillion, giving a difference of $7.5 trillion. I just want us to do the following exercise. If now Bitcoin were to increase by $7.5 trillion, let's do this calculation. 1.92, sorry, it would be an addition plus 7.5 would result in Bitcoin having a market capitalization of $9.42 trillion. Is this going to happen? No, it's not going to happen. But physically, not physically, we already know it's possible. There has been an asset with a much higher market capitalization than Bitcoin that has increased its value by 50% in just 1 year. It went from 15 trillion to $22.5 trillion. All I want us to keep in mind is the following. But that's not all. If we look at the S&P 500 chart, the index that includes the 500 most important companies on the planet, let's do the following. Let's go straight to May 2024. Here it is. Let's start from April. From April 2024 to the all-time high we had here in February 2025, right before the market started to drop dramatically, it went up by 23%. And I want us to set the chart to monthly so you can understand the magnitude of the S&P 500 rising 23% in just 1 year. If we set the chart to monthly and scroll back, we can see that the S&P 500 has been in the market for an incredibly long time. Here we have the S&P 500 chart from 1,929, and in just 1 year, it has gone up by almost 25%, practically everything it had gained since 1929. In fact, if we go back even further, we can reach the 1900s, even the late 1800s. What do I mean by this? At first, I was very reluctant to believe that Bitcoin could reach $100,000 in just a few months, or $200,000 in just a few months. But history has already shown us that it really is possible. Whether it will actually happen is another matter. Personally, and I want to share my own opinion here, I don't think that Bitcoin, unlike what many people on the internet say, I don't think it's going to reach $400, $500, or $600,000. Personally, I don't think that's going to happen. But I do see it as quite possibly not that it will reach 150,000, but that we could see Bitcoin peak at 120, 130, or 140,000. That doesn't mean you have to wait until it hits 120, 130, or 140 to start taking profit. Obviously, always be responsible and start taking profits as the asset rises, as your cryptocurrencies go up in value. Let's just go back to what we have here. Gold's market cap, 22.78. We've already mentioned that this would be a difference of 7.5 trillion. And we've already mentioned that Bitcoin's market cap is 1.92 trillion, resulting in a total market cap of $9.42 trillion. All right, let's go straight to CoinMarketCap, where currently the price of Bitcoin is $96,674. And in about an hour, we're expecting quite a bit of volatility in the market. And now let's do the following with the magic calculator. We're going to take into account 9.42 trillion. Let's enter 942 and 10 zeros. Let's keep this just between us. I've had to do this a few times, honestly, because I didn't know how many zeros that was. But anyway, it's 10. We already have 9, so let's add the 10. Dividing by the 19.86 million cryptocurrency tokens that currently exist in Bitcoin, we get a price for Bitcoin of $474,320.24. In other words, if Bitcoin were to increase by the same percentage that gold has increased in a year, the asset would currently multiply by 4.5. Again, I think that could happen. I don't think it's going to happen precisely because gold is an asset with a much larger market cap. That's exactly why when someone invests proleptically speaking, they're going to do it in gold before they do it in Bitcoin. Even so, honestly, it's given me quite a bit of hope just thinking, wow, this happened with gold, this happened with the S&P 500, so there's no reason it couldn't happen in a similar way with Bitcoin. It seems like Bitcoin currently has a huge market cap, when in reality, its market cap is negligible compared to that of the S&P 500, compared to gold, or even compared to the world's most important companies. Microsoft has 1.5 times the market cap of Bitcoin. Let's move straight to this video we have here, which is from CZ, the founder of Binance, and I want you all to listen to it. What do you think the price of Bitcoin will top at this time? Oh, again, very difficult question. Somewhere between 500,000 to a million, I think. What do you think the price of Bitcoin? Well, basically what he's saying. And we're not going to do a voiceover like maybe Nico Cabrera would do, sending him a hug from here. The guy's a legend. I don't think Bitcoin is going to reach between 500,000 and $1 million, which is what CZ is telling us. In the end, guys, we have to be much smarter than this. He's telling you, CZ is telling you that Bitcoin could reach from 500,000 to $1 million. What does CZ want? What CZ wants is for you to hold on as long as possible. For what? So he can sell before you do. That's exactly why whenever you see someone saying 500,000, $1 million, $1.5 million, 300, 400,000, be suspicious. Simply as your asset goes up, keep taking profits precisely because you don't know when the last day of the cycle will be. What we do need to keep in mind is that if we look directly at Bitcoin's monthly returns, and this is something that also gives us hope, if we go straight to the year 2021, when we had that old season, we can see that Bitcoin appreciated by 14% in January, 36% in February, and 29% in March. But the thing is, we were already coming from an appreciation of 27% in October, 42% in November, and 47% in December, resulting in Bitcoin's price nearly tripling, going from $20-something thousand to a total of $60-something thousand. Another thing you have to keep in mind about why it's difficult for Bitcoin to reach those $400,000, $300,000, or $200,000 this year in 2025 is precisely because if we add up the dominance of Bitcoin, the dominance of USDT, and the dominance of USDC, we get a result of 52.58% at present. In other words, for every dollar in the crypto space, 72 cents or 72.59 cents are in Bitcoin, USDC, or USDT. It's not in any altcoin. Basically, put another way, only a quarter of the money in the crypto space is in altcoin. A quarter of all the money in the crypto space is in Ethereum, Solana, Polkadot, Toncoin, and so on and so on. What does this mean? If we look at what has happened previously with this dominance, with this combined dominance, we can see that if we go directly to the year 2021, it dropped dramatically and with a lot of force. And now you might be asking yourself the following question, Johnny, but if Bitcoin's dominance drops sharply, does that mean Bitcoin's price can't go up anymore? No, I'm not saying that. Bitcoin's price can still keep rising. What happens is that compared to the altcoins, it's going to rise much more slowly. I don't know if you're seeing what I mentioned to you earlier here, what I told you happened from December to May of 2021. You can see that, yes, Bitcoin did a 3x, but at no point here have we looked at what happened with Ethereum. Well, with Ethereum, it went from $700 to over $4,000. Bitcoin went from 20-something thousand to almost 60,000. Did Bitcoin's price go up? Yes, it went up, but the price of Ethereum and the altcoins went up much more. That's exactly why I think Bitcoin's price could keep rising. But at some point, since this can't be stretched any further, the rubber band can't be stretched anymore. At some point, this will either hold steady or start to fall. Will Bitcoin keep going up if we have an alt season? Yes, but it will go up much less compared to the rest of the altcoins, which is another reason why I find it very unlikely that Bitcoin could reach 300 or 400,000 in this cycle. It does seem much more plausible to me that it could reach 120 or even spike to 130 or 140. Remember, keep taking profits along the way. And guys, that's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you think about what we've discussed in the video. Do you think it makes sense that Bitcoin won't reach 400,000? Or do you think on the contrary that it actually could reach that level? Do you think it could reach $150,000 or not? Let me know in the comments because I'll be reading them. And guys, thank you so much for all the supportive comments. See you in the next video. Regards next time.